Howdy everyone, welcome back to Serving Up Plumbing with me, your master plumber, David Butler. Today, we're talking again to those young plumbers out there, apprentices that are getting ready to take their tradesman and journeyman. I know one of the biggest things is the unknown. And a lot of guys don't even know what's on the test when they go down there, and because no one's helped them out. So we want to do everything we can to get these guys ready to take their test so they can pass it. One thing we want to talk about today is the written exam. But before we talk about that, make sure and hit that subscribe button, give it a thumbs up if you like this video, and let me know what you'd like to see in the future. Now, let's get into that written exam so you don't have to worry. The written exam for the tradesman test is very similar to the journeyman test. Now, the one we're talking about in specific here, guys, I know this goes all over the world, but we're talking about the Texas test. Now, even though it's just the test in Texas, and Texas has one of the most difficult licensing programs of any state, you can use this information for learning the plumbing for your written test probably in your state. It's all done by the International Plumbing Code is what we go by. Now, the state of Texas recognizes the International Plumbing Code and the Uniform Plumbing Code. But on their test, they make sure they don't do anything that doesn't cross into both codes so that they overlap. They won't make you answer a question on something that's just in one code or the other. So let's talk about the written test. For a tradesman, the written test is 85 questions and it's multiple choice. The journeyman test is generally about 95 questions. Again, it's multiple choice. And in fact, probably 65 to 70 of the questions that you had on your tradesman test, if you've already taken a tradesman, are repeated on your journeyman test. Now, the main difference is this. The tradesman test is about residential service, 1 and 2 family dwellings. It doesn't expand outside of that. It's not about apartments. It's not about commercial. The journeyman test gets much more in depth into commercial plumbing, venting, a little more deeper into backflow, water heaters, commercial items. But the majority of that written test is still the same things that you answered on the tradesman. So it's not that difficult. If you've taken the tradesman test, I will tell you, the journeyman will be a simple test to take. You just need to do a little bit of studying, make sure you know all your definitions, and you need to know the license law. So let's lay this out. The main thing you need to study for your written exam is the Texas license law. So 1, the Texas plumbing license law. Now, the Texas plumbing license law is specific to Texas. You go to Illinois, you go to Oklahoma, or you go to Louisiana or New Mexico, anywhere around, they may be similar, but they're not the same. And what is license law? License law is the things that, what are the requirements for it? So license law are things like requirements to be licensed. Also, administrative things, like how many board members there are and things of that nature. Administrative. And finally, what are the fines if you do something wrong? What are the penalties? That kind of thing. So, penalties. Texas license law. You can pull it up on Google, just say Texas license law, Texas plumbing license law, that is. Pull it up on Google, and it will show you the entire thing. I recommend you learning it. Now, again, it's multiple choice, so you don't have to memorize the entire thing, but you got to be pretty familiar with it. And probably about 30 questions on your test are probably going to be this. 25 to 30 questions are going to be over this on your license law. Now, understand, all of the tests now for tradesmen and journeymen in Texas, and even the masters, are on computer. It's awesome. It's been a long time coming. It's a great test. Everybody nowadays, of course, is more technology oriented, and it's easier to take the test on a computer than doing a handwritten test like we used to do in Austin. You get 3 hours to do the test. Used to, when you took the test on the same day of your tradesman, you had to do the written test, the practical, and the dollhouse all on one day. You had 8 hours to do all that. Now you get it split up, so it takes a lot of stress off of everyone. You get 3 hours to do this test, and I will tell you, most people I've seen finish it in an hour and a half or less. I even saw one guy finish it in 20 minutes. So, not recommending that you rush through it, but I will tell you this, if you're prepared for this test, it does go quickly because it is 85 questions of multiple choice. If you know what you're looking at, you're going to be able to answer this quickly. So we've got the plumbing license law. The second thing that we're going to have phase to this test is the code. What does the code come from? right out of the International Residential Code for the tradesman and the International Plumbing Code for the journeyman. So we've got code, the IRC and the IPC, and we also have the IFGC, which is the International Fuel Gas Code. This is your definitions, things like what is backflow, what is a circuit vent, what is a common vent, what are the distances a toilet must be set from the wall, what is the clearance a toilet must have, what kind of valves have to be on a water heater, all the code requirements for temperature and pressure relief valves, drain pans, you name it. We're talking code here. We're talking definitions. Learn your definitions in the code book and learn the code. How do you do that? You can Google it. You can buy you a code book. I recommend everyone buy a code book. If you're a licensed plumber, you should have a code book. It'd be like if you're a preacher, you have a Bible, right? Well, if you're a plumber, you should have a code book. Those kind of things are important. These are the kind of things you're going to find in that. Now, the International Residential Code is tradesman, and the International Plumbing Code is journeyman. There are not a whole lot of fuel gas code questions on here. There are a lot of water heater questions. There's not any ADA. There's no OSHA. Now, that comes when you're masters. And I will tell you this. In my opinion, the journeyman is the easiest test you're ever going to take, and the masters is the hardest test you'll ever take. I've had several guys just recently pass their masters, and the really cool thing is the state legislature just passed, you no longer have to have 4 years as a journeyman to get your masters. They dropped it down to 2 years as of September 1st, 2025. So all of you guys out there that have been waiting 4 years to get your masters that are journeymen now have the ability to get your masters after 2 years. And you may not want to become your own businessman. You may not want to become your own owner, or you might have that dream. But the cool thing is, it's kind of like having a master's degree or a PhD in plumbing. If you go out there and a customer says, you know, what's your license? And you say, well, I'm a master plumber. It just brings the level of confidence in that customer a lot higher. It brings your confidence level up. So I encourage all of you to work through and go all the way and get your masters. But we're talking about journeyman and tradesman right now, right? Sorry, I got off track. We need to study the International Residential Code and the International Plumbing Code and International Fuel Gas Code. Now, in the International Residential Code, you don't need to study the whole book. The book is this thick. This is what the International Residential Code looks like. That means that covers everything. You don't need to study all of that. The majority of what you need to study in this book, it's about that many pages. That's how much you need to study in this book. It starts at chapter 13, and you need to skip through chapters and goes through chapter 33. Chapter 34 starts with electrical. Understand, this book is International Residential Code. It covers everything from bricklaying to insulation to rafters to shingles. You name it, this covers it. It's just got a small section in it that covers plumbing. The only bad part about the book is it skips around. That's why I say there's chapter 13, chapter 20, chapter 22. It skips up to chapter 24 for fuel gas code in it. It actually has a section of fuel gas code. If you're a tradesman, you only need to study in here for your fuel gas code. If you're a journeyman, you may need to study a little deeper. So, you need to go all through that, then all the way up to chapter 33 where it talks about storm drainage, it talks about sanitary, it talks about venting, traps, water distribution, all of that. Not all of it is on your tradesman test. You don't have to size anything as a tradesman. All you need to do is know your definitions, know your codes on water heaters, know your vents, know your clearances, that sort of thing. I do recommend getting you a code book though. It is an excellent thing to have. At the very least, get you a code check book like this. I don't say this is a substitute for your code book. It doesn't say everything. Could you pass your test off of what you could learn in this? Maybe. I don't know exactly how much is in this. I do know it's a good reference guide. It is a good study guide. So that's a possibility also. But every plumber that's going to get his license should own a code book. Tradesman is IRC. Journeyman is IPC. Make sure and be familiar with the International Fuel Gas Code. Generally, 2018 to 2021 are what most of the codes have been adopted. Some cities are still on 2015. I don't know, some may still be on 2012. There's just a very few cities that have adopted 2024. There's not a lot of difference from 2018 to 24. So if you have a 2018 or have someone that has one and you can borrow it, you're okay. You've had to take classes if you're going to go get your tradesman and journeyman in Texas. You had to take those prep courses for the tradesman. You had to take 2 courses. For the journeyman, you had to take a 3rd course. All of those courses were preparing you for what you're going to have to do on your tradesman test. Most of the providers give great information and great study material for those, so make sure you've kept that. Study, 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 and you won't have any problem with this test. I hope you all have the greatest luck with it. I thank you for watching this. If you have any comments, let me know. I put a link in the description of a practice test or 2. I'm not affiliated with these links, but they can be helpful for your studying. Make sure and subscribe for more videos coming out about your plumbing test. Hopefully we can get the why behind everything and give you an idea of what's on the test so it'll get rid of some of that anxiety. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Look forward to hearing how you did on your plumbing test. And don't forget to tell your friends, the Butler did it.